What we have here is a SL68 jam brace that we're going to be installing on a double side lighted door unit. We attach it with 8 1-inch screws through the countersink holes to the jam. This is the actual jam brace itself. It sandwiches in between the jams. This is the 6-hole strike plate that we use to attach for the deadbolt strike. 4 thread cutting screws through the strike plate into the jam brace, and then the decorative strike plate goes over the top. We've got the screw pack that gets stapled to the door once it's assembled. We've got 4 3.5-inch screws in here that we use to install the door unit and anchor it to the wall framing. We have our L-shaped escutcheon plate, which goes on the edge of the door to protect the edge of the door and keep it from splitting out. And then we have a grade 2 deadbolt, which is critical. You want a good quality deadbolt in there to secure the door. So we're going to attach our SL68 to the side-lighted door unit jam brace. This is going to be on a 6'8" door. For an 8-foot door, we would have a 1-inch extension going on up to the top, a 1-foot extension going on up to the top. So now we're going to install the jam brace on the strike side of a double side lighted door unit. The most important thing is to make sure the deadbolt hole in the jam brace lines up with the deadbolt hole in the door frame. Hold it even on the inside edge and then run your 8 1-inch screws. And then we're not going to install it now, but this is your deadbolt hole here in your door. We would attach our L-shaped escutcheon plate over this once the deadbolt is installed to protect the edge of the door. So once the door is installed out in the field, once the deadbolt is installed, we would install our L-shaped escutcheon plate, wraps around the edge, inside face of the door, and covers up the edge like that, and that protects the edge of the door. Okay, once we have it attached to the door jam side of the box frame unit, we'll take the side light side jam and put it right together. What we're going to do is just let him finish shooting his corrugated fasteners through. So now what we'll do is we'll flip it over, and where the radius notches are, that's where we shoot our corrugated fasteners through. So now he's going to bring the side light jam of the box frame unit over and mold it to the door side. Yeah, see, pretty much other than attaching the screws, it assembles just like a regular door.
There you go.
Now, do you want to lay this flat? We got to attach 2 of the thread cutting screws. Currently we're using an 11/64" drill bit to drill the pilot holes for the thread cutting screws that we use to attach the hinges to the jam brace on the back side into frame there. We will be eventually coming out with self-tapping screws that will actually drill its own pilot hole through the aluminum and thread into the jam brace. So, but right now we are using the thread cutting screws, so these just run in once the pilot hole is drilled. So what we're going to do is we're going to attach our 6-hole strike plate again to the jam brace that's sandwiched in between the 2 frames. Right now we're doing it with thread cutting screws, but we will be switching over to the self-tapping screws. So now you would just assemble the door unit as you normally would.
A lot of pressure when somebody's trying to kick it in. It's not the rot proof sitting there.
Oh, yeah. So now what we're going to do is, after they flip the unit over, then they can shoot their corrugated fasteners through where the radius notches are. The radius notches in the jam braces are in there to receive the corrugated fasteners that they use to mold the two parts together. You know, when you set the door, obviously you just center it up in the opening, secure the bottom, make sure the top is spaced properly and secure the top, and then we'll remove your bracket on the inside there and then shim it and secure it. Now I'm looking good on the inside here, so. Okay, so since they're integrating a continuous sill system, really all we need to do is just shim on either side here and anchor it with the 3.5-inch screws that come with the screw pack. Otherwise, if this was just a true box frame unit where you had 3 separate sills, I would recommend anchoring the jamb right here down into the floor to keep it from moving in and out. Sometimes I'll put the shim right in line with the bottom of the side light, so when I'm on the outside drilling it in, I know right where to drill. So, but I can kind of see through the glass here to make sure I get through the shim. So all we're doing is just running 3.5-inch screws that come with the jam brace screw pack. So actually what we're doing is actually shimming the door in place, which should be done on all doors, and then anchoring, running a 3.5-inch screw through the jamb into your wall frame. Typically I'll shim these right here on the top between the header, right up, so you can run a screw right through here up into the header. Keep in mind also that when you've got two jam braces, you include 1 screw pack for every jam brace. So on a double side lighted door, you need 2 of our screw packs. Even with the solid head jam, we still recommend shimming and running screws up into the header right above that mold post, or right next to the mold. And I also put shims right in the middle, in line with the deadbolt on either side. So because as the guy starts kicking on the door, that impact wants to spread the jams as the deadbolt starts to kind of fatigue a little, and so the shims actually keep the jams from spreading. Yeah, I mean, and so then this guy I met on the plane today. All right, so just to summarize everything that we've done, we've assembled a double side lighted door unit that incorporates 2 jam brace SL 6/8s, and again the SL just stands for side light for a 6'8" door. And again, if this was an 8-foot door, we just cut off a 1-foot extension of the jam brace off a 3rd separate jam brace to fill it in the rest of the way, keep the gap and everything spaced evenly. got the unit assembled. We've got thread cutting screws that attach, 2 thread cutting screws through each hinge that attach to the jam brace. And then we got our 6-hole strike plate for the deadbolt here that attaches with 4 thread cutting screws to the jam brace. And then the decorative strike plate goes over the top and it goes through the remaining set of holes. And then as you can see, we've got the door shimmed all the way around. On the sides, we got it at the bottom, middle, and top. And then on the very top, we've got it right above each mole post on either side of the door itself. And then once all that's shimmed and secured in place, then you attach your door hardware, attach your deadbolt and your doorknob. And your deadbolt goes in just like that. And then our L-shaped escutcheon plate, it wraps around the inside face, not the outside face. And it just lays over the deadbolt just like that. You run your 2 screws right through here, and then you've got 2 screws. This deadbolt isn't going in all the way, but this, you got 2 screws that go right through this inside face. And so what this does, versus the old style U-shaped escutcheon plates, the U-shaped ones, when it wrapped around the outside, it would interfere with the weather stripping. It was exposed to the outside, and it would conduct cold from the outside to the inside, so you'd have frost buildup in colder climates. What we realize is when the guy's kicking on the door, all the force is going this way, away from this outside flange, and so we realized we didn't even need that on there, and our L-shaped is just as strong as the U-shape, but it doesn't have any of the negative features that the other U-shape does. So this won't interfere with weather stripping. When the door's closed, you can't tell there's even anything on there, especially from the outside. And then it won't conduct cold from the outside to the inside. 2 screws through each hinge and attach it with the thread cutting screws into the jam brace. That's what anchors it in place. And the nice thing about having the jam brace sandwiched in between the jam here is if you have a real heavy door in here, and it, with all that weight on there, if you just had 1-inch wood screws in there, those don't hold very well, and they'd have a tendency to work their way loose. Whereas if you have the jam brace in here with the thread cutting screws, actually the screws anchored into the jam brace, that's going to hold that heavy door in place.